broken in a way. If they can't ever get off their butts, like to, I mean, the thing is, they want to accomplish that identity thing. So, I mean, that they're a good bridge to talking about ENTPs. So, okay, we want to accomplish an identity thing too, but we have no idea what the fuck we're doing with it at first. So, whereas like INTP goes, all right, let me look down here. What do I want this section to look like? I'm gonna like Zachary, for example. He did the TWFP thing for a while. He did a certain amount of videos. They were all like mostly like hits, you know, and they were spaced fairly far and few between. And then he pulled out because he realized it's like, okay, he doesn't want to be segueing into what it was becoming exactly. And he had, in my mind, he had set up his own identity as like, okay, boom, that section's finished there. That chapter's done. I've got myself defined for that chapter of life in this particular area is this. And I think INTPs like that sort of thing. Whereas in contrast, I
want you to clarify on that a little bit. What do you mean by that? Like you're saying the reason he pulled out is saying you think he just said, okay, that chapter of my life is done. That is what I was there. I'm trying to understand exactly what you mean.
Well, I think when he's evaluating the thing, he's evaluating it from a personal identity build perspective more than anything else. He's saying, well, like he's making a decision about it, basically. He's sitting back and making a decision about it. He's making a decision by comparing to some sort of model of how the self presents ideally, how the self presents in the status quo, what possible ways one might branch off this existing status quo thing, and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, and also he was factoring FE things where it was, you know, I was doing a lot more shit than he was, even though his stuff was way more impactful in a way. It made it a challenge because I was trying to get him to be more active, and, you know, it became complicated enough that the net impact calculus resolved it such that he wanted to close the chapter cleanly, you know? And so he did close it cleanly. And
gotcha.
And now he enjoys what the INTP in him probably anticipated, but maybe didn't, which is a sort of ability to come back in and receive this status as sort of a TWFP pioneering person and a archetypal INTP, you know, who's made the video that still gets the most views every month of every video I have on here, which is how to tell if an INTP likes you.
Yeah.
It's still number one. I just checked the stats today for the first time in a long time. Last month, what was the number one video that most views, most watch time? How to tell if an INTP likes you.
Apparently, it's a difficult question.
Well, the thing is, there are 4 types that do the most YouTube video watching about typology. That's INTP, INFJ, INFP, and ENFP. Those 4 types are the most watching. Probably ENTPs too, but I mean, I think I have so oversaturated the ENTP video market that if you're an ENTP, you've already long since watched your fill of ENTP videos. Okay, any additional comments here on the INTP ENTP thing? I didn't really finish what I was saying about the ENTP in contrast. So, like, we're not very good at keeping track of our own identity, who we are. We don't know how other people feel about us. Still can't really tell in general. It's like I get the sense when something will be successful to a group, like, oh, I think this will play well in front of a group. I can get that idea, fine. But how individual people feel about me is a tricky thing for me to understand. It's hard for me to feel as though other people's positive emotions towards me are legitimate or meaningful or something like that. And so I think that's why I do so much stuff. is because I don't know what else to do or something.
Mm.
But I'm starting to define myself a little bit more clearly. Like, to the extent that the channel becomes more well-defined as a entity, it means I'm becoming more well-defined as an entity, because really it represents the slow and sloppy optimization of Eric, which is both slow and sloppy. Whereas INTPs are not sloppy in comparison, but INTPs have at their disposal a totally legitimate and authentic obliviousness that can I think lets people be more forgiving of us than they might otherwise be, and also that allows me anyway to continue to operate in a world where I assume everybody's good and decent and well-meaning and kind and everything. And all these good and well-meaning and decent and kind people continue telling me how gullible and oblivious I am. And yet I continue to not encounter these hordes of barbarians who are coming to cause harm to the city. At any rate, I don't know if that was very explanatory about ENTPs. Why don't you guys talk about ENTPs?
I don't know. I mean, compared to INTPs, I mean, I definitely see the similarities. Like, we speak the same language. That's the biggest one. We speak the language of ideas, and like we're good at interpreting symbols apart from the definition. Like, no matter what words are used, we're pretty good at parsing out the meaning of those words. I think both types are good at that. But I definitely see a huge difference too as far as where ENTPs kind of aim their attention and where INTPs aim their attention. So that just being extroverted and introverted probably is a big difference. Or like ENTPs definitely seem to aim their attention at the world more and have a larger and broader TI-SI database to me than INTPs do, actually. I feel like they actually have a larger library a lot of the time of random collected information. And the INTP spends a little bit more time refining that library, maybe, or purposely blocks, if SI deems something important, then it'll go on collecting information on that topic for however until it deems it has sufficient information. And if your attention is focused on something so heavily, then naturally you're going to have decreased attention in other areas.
That's a good rule to remember across the board for cognitive functions. So let me ask you this question then. That psychosophy thing that Luna, another INTP, linked me to, indicates basically that, according to that system, it talks about what you prioritize. And it says that I prioritize emotion first, and that my primary way of accomplishing that is with logic. So, in contrast, you got the one with logic first, right, Susie?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think that ENTPs primarily prioritize emotion first?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think I prioritize emotion first?
No, that's for sure.
I do.
Yeah, FE, but not FI.
I prioritize FI most of the time.
Your own feelings, your own values?
No, other people's feelings. I do. Look, just because.
The same thing can be said about anyone, really, whether they're good at it or not.
I was going to say, kind of in that same context, I could say I do the same thing. Like, I give a lot of attention to FE, or you can call it, you can say FI, whatever interpretation you're taking of it, other people's feelings, and making sure that I am good to their feelings.
But this is contrary to how you say that INTPs are more gracious in that way. We step into less crap because we're more careful. So it has nothing to do with functions, that test. I kind of disregarded it.
Well, I know it has nothing to do with functions. There may not be a correlation. It may just be me. I do think I prioritize emotional stability or emotional well-being, everyone's happiness at the end of the day more than anything else. Like, for example, what I mean by that is like Socionic says, I prefer a merry atmosphere. We can have a big argument and we can remain disagreeing at the end of the argument, and it's not going to have any impact on my merriness with you going forward, you know? So in that regard, I do prioritize the emotional well-being of things. Like, my primary concern, in some sense, is that the games stay on the field, that the fights are games, that we don't actually have real fights where we don't actually like each other, you know? The thing is, maybe it's true that everybody's like that, in which case it would be irrelevant. But I don't know.
I know I can agree with that as far as like wanting a merry atmosphere, or if I get into a fight with anyone in my like real life or whatever, most of the time it's me after the fight. It's me spending a lot of time letting them know it's okay. I'm not mad at them now, or like it's okay to feel safe and again, or you know what I mean? Like trying to smooth it over.
Because I will not stab you again. I promise. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't like big fights or anything. Anyway, so biggest difference between the ENTP and INTP, I think we go about our identity builds in an opposite way. You guys try to make careful decisions. We try to make lots of decisions and pick out the good ones. And it sort of works that way discursively. It works that way in terms of life choices. It works that way in terms of choosing a favorite brand of cereal. You guys probably go in the store and you look and you try a few and you decide on one and you probably stick with it. Do you stick with one brand of cereal?
I have a couple that I swap between.
Okay.
A few.
I also have like 2 I actually buy.
Okay. Sometimes I buy cereal, sometimes I don't buy cereal. When I do buy cereal, I might buy grape nuts, I might buy honey nut cherry, I might buy any number of different possible cereals. I might buy that cereal I've never tried before. Who knows?
Me too. I mean, I have some that I swap between, but I haven't bought cereal in like 2 months. And sometimes if I see like a new brand or something like totally different and it looks like, I'll try it. Just depends.
Well, your guys' SI is not notably, it's like, it's not really visibly that much stronger than ours. It's invisibly stronger. It's like in the visible shit, you guys are kind of messy too. And, you know, you dress like this too. And we do have the same style. None of the NTPs gives a fuck about that shit, you know? That's what makes us my favorite type.
Yeah.
People fuss about stuff that doesn't matter all the time. INTPs get that it doesn't matter. A lot of other types don't necessarily get that. But that's not relevant to the actual job at hand, this little symbol that you want us to engage in. It's something INTPs understand. Whereas other types might be like, but that's the rules.
What I've noticed with, at least, I'm just really drawing a lot of this from 2 good ENTP friends that I have in real life, but I've noticed with SI, with the ENTP versus the INTP, it's like, and the same with FE, the last 2 functions. The last function, they seem to be more like, it seems a lot more raw, and that the information that they receive from that function is more